the PDP has called on the Chief Justice of Nigeria to probe what it called the public boasting by leaders of the APC that it has people in the judiciary, particularly at the Appeal and Supreme Court, to do its bidding on election cases. The PDP refers to a viral video by APC member and Plateau State House of Reps member Yusuf Gagdi. In the video, he said, quote, "We have gone to appeal court and the final destination is the Supreme Court and we'll meet there. That is where we will know whom they know and they will know whom we know," end quote. Well, in a statement, PDP spokesman Debo Ologuagba said the controversial remark confirms the suspicion that the APC has set up a team to induce certain judicial officers to deliver judgments against the PDP. The main opposition party has demanded that the CJN set up a panel to probe these claims by the APC and investigate the bribery allegations against the Plateau State Election Appeal Court panel.
Alia's victory today is the latest in a list of election petition tribunal cases. Well, courts have sacked at least 3 governors whose elections were contested by opposition parties and deemed one election inconclusive. But there have been conflicting judgments, especially in the cases of the Kano and Benue states. Well, joining us now is Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Oba Maduabuchi. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight tonight.
It's always a pleasure, Ngozi and Sulaiman.
Yeah, hopefully we'll have time to, interrogate how vulnerable the courts are at this time and at different levels, because that seems to be the trend of discussions now. But let's look at this, cases, this upturning of cases by the courts lately. 4 governors have been at least removed. Nasarawa still waiting. What exactly is playing out, especially in the case of Plateau and, of course, Kano? Indeed, all the cases.
If you look at Plateau State is being handled from 2 angles. One is disobedience of court order. A high court in Plateau said, you don't have any structures that can conduct the affairs of electioneering in Plateau State. They were telling PDP. So what you need to do is to go and hold congresses, to elect officers and have a structure that can carry on your affairs. They refused. So when they refused to obey the order of the court, and that is one thing courts don't joke with. The moment a court makes an order, it expects you to obey it. We saw it play out in Zamfara in 2019. What? The APC won all the seats from governor to House of Assembly. But in one day, the Supreme Court threw all of them out because an order was made, don't do this, and they did it, and the Supreme Court threw all of them out. It happened in Rivers State. Don't hold congresses because the process is being challenged in court. They went and held their congresses. It was easy for the courts to throw away all the candidates they nominated, and they didn't contest those 2 elections. Now, the same thing is happening in Plateau. Go and hold congresses for you to have a structure that can produce your candidates. And they refused. They went ahead. How they brought candidates, I don't know because I'm not a politician. But merely the issues are being raised. The courts are saying, we made this order and you refused to obey it. It has nothing to do with who won the election or who didn't win. At that level, the question of who won the election is neither here nor there. Was there a valid order of court? Yes. Did you obey it? No. What is the consequence? Your acts are nullified. So that is what is playing out in Plateau.
So because the way it's going now, because a lot of people may not have seen that, they thought it has to do with being a member of a political party, challenging the membership of a political party, and you're not a member, maybe an external individual,
entity, yes.
Trying to challenge whether you
the
are
internal affairs,
whether you are duly nominated as a member or not. So these are some of the conversations that close watchers are having on these 2 cases.
Now, you see, we are having conflicting decisions of the Court of Appeal. If you remember, Ndudie Lumelu, That was the first judgment. When Ndudi was removed, because his opponent, a lady I remember, had gone to the tribunal, and the tribunal said, Ndudi, you are not properly elected because you are not properly nominated based on not being a member of a party. Your name is not on the register. The Court of Appeal said, no, you can't do that, too, because it is the internal affairs of the PDP. But we are now hearing Mutfua has been removed because it is said he is not a member of the PDP. Peter Obi, remember, APC filed a counter petition. And the Court of Appeal, the Presidential Election Petition Court, said you cannot challenge. Some of us are of a different view because the constitutional provision, any constitutional provision, can never be the internal affairs of a political party. The only thing that is your internal affair is what your own constitution makes provision for.
That is the party's constitution.
The party's constitution. If the constitution of Nigeria has said you must be a Nigerian, that is a qualifying factor. So anybody can say that man is not a Nigerian. If you are not 35 years, somebody can say, that man is not 35 years. And all these things are provided for in Section 177 of the Constitution. Why are you singling out the question of membership of a political party and sponsorship out of the four steps provided for in Section 177?
What do you think is playing out?
So it is. I think that's why I agree with Adumain. That's why I agree with Adumain that you must prove that you are a member of a political party before that party can sponsor you. It is like saying school start is internal affair of a political party.
And I thought that there's a precedent, so where the Supreme Court ruled on similar cases and declared that only a political party can declare who is a party member and who is not.
Yes. We've had that.
Yes.
We've had that. We've had that. That's why you see, in law, we are the most affected because we must, especially those of us who are senior advocates, we must advise our clients. Right. The very essence of law is certainty. I should be certain enough to tell my client that you can do this or you cannot do that.
So how damaging is this seeming uncertainty to our jurisprudence?
That is why we are praying that somebody goes to the Supreme Court. So that Section 177(3) is directly interpreted by the Supreme Court. We don't have problem with 1771.
What does that say?
Which is that you must be a Nigerian.
Right.
1772, you must be 35 years. 1774, you must be educated up to school start. This is 1773, which says you must belong to a political party. And that political party, in fact, they say you must belong to a political party. And then that political party must sponsor you. So why can I say you don't have school start? Why should I be able to say you are not a Nigerian? Why should I be able to say that you are not 35 years?
Is this an indictment on the electoral umpire itself, INEC, that does not do a thorough job of ensuring that
INEC has no power under the law to disqualify anybody. It is your risk. If you bring anybody and I see a disqualifying and he's not qualified.
Right. You're talking about like a red flag. If you see a red flag, you ignore.
It is for you to make sure that you keep your house in order so that lawyers can be working. You are supposed to go along with us. But if you decide to do it your own way, nothing is happening. Wow. Just submit, don't worry, we know what to do. The courts will descend on you just like they are doing. Remember that there are two issues. One is qualifying, one is disqualifying.
Yeah.
Right.
So what we are discussing now is the qualifying. If you bring a forged certificate, that is a disqualifying factor, not a qualifying factor.
Right.
So if somebody comes to court now and says, The man brought a forged certificate. He is therefore not qualified. The court will rule against you.
In the case of Zamfara, for example,
Yes.
you have the governor there, Dauda Lawal,
yes.
whose election has been declared inconclusive 8 months after the election.
Yes.
The person who he contested against is now Minister of State for Defense.
Yes.
What then? Exactly what are we, I mean, in terms of precedents and what have you? How will this play out? Who is it going to be contesting against if there's a rerun?
There is already a rerun.
Yeah, there is a rerun, yes.
Now, it is for the minister to leave his position and go back and run the election. He must, unless APC wants to concede to PDP. No other person can run that election except the minister. The person
So the APC cannot pick a different...
No, you cannot. You cannot. You cannot.
Well, it's quite an interesting perspective. I know we've been able to skirt around it, but again, it looks so clear. But again, sometimes it looks foggy, even amongst some of your learned colleagues.
But maybe before we let you go, Falano, respected senior advocate of Nigeria, made a statement just yesterday or so over the weekend, saying the involvement of judges in elections should be eliminated. Is that even possible?
No, it's not possible.
How do you do that?
It is not possible. Because our level of development in politics hasn't gotten to that level. In Nigeria today, a politician, when he's preparing to run an election, he uses 40% of his money to run the election and 60% to prosecute the case at the tribunal and the courts. Because you must go to court. There are people who, rather than convince people, they are busy gathering talks. There are people who go to influence INEC. A youth copper, you give him 100,000. He has never seen it before. And you say, please do this for me. And the youth copper forgets that it is his future.
Yeah.
Because this, you are saying you are tomorrow's leader. And you have the opportunity of righting the wrongs of society. And you refuse and collect 100,000 and put in your pocket. 3 days later, the money is gone. And your future is equally gone. So our young men should advise themselves that these things are things that they should run away from. They should run away from. You cannot, because of a plate of food.
Porridge.
A plate of porridge, then you mortgage your entire future. Some of us have crossed the, the bridge, but we only hope that the younger people realize that it is their life.
Well, I think it's a fine place for us to say thank you for being such a nice company as always, Oba Maduabuchi.
Thank you very much,
Advocate of Nigeria.
Thank you
Thank
very
you so
much.
much.